Holy cow, so freaking pod.
Yes, I'm Chad.
I'm Cherrydom.
I'm Charles.
All right, chapter 2. Chad, will you give us the summary?
So chapter 1 was just packed full of action where people sat around talking, and chapter 2 is no different. Except the very beginning where Anna leaves a building as opposed to entering a building, which happened in the first chapter. So anyway, Anna leaves Grey Enterprises, drives back to her hometown of Vancouver, or I guess it's not her hometown. Anyway, she meets up with a roommate. A lot of stuff happens over the course of a couple paragraphs where they both study for their finals or their midterms. She works her job at Clayton's, which introduces Clayton's. They talk about her interview with Christian Grey, and Anna is incredibly embarrassed and doesn't really want to get into too much detail. She makes a call to her mom and talks to her stepdad. We meet Jose, Anna and Kate's token minority friend, who probably has a huge crush on Anna and also invites both of them to a gallery opening for his photography. Also, this introduces him as a photographer, hint, hint. So the most of the action of the chapter, if you can call it action, involves Anna working at the store again at Clayton's, and Christian Grey pops in by surprise and requests a few unusual items that we will get into a bit later. Talks to Anna in lots of, kind of creepy double entendres and innuendos. And at the very end, their meeting is interrupted by the arrival of some guy named Paul, who is related to somebody that owns the store. I don't think it matters. Who also has a crush on Anna. Anna's apparently super oblivious to all of these crushes, except for the one that she doesn't want to deal with. Then Christian Grey leaves. They have maybe a date to have a photo shoot for Kate's school newspaper.
That sure is a summary.
Yeah, a lot more happened than I thought when I read it.
Yeah, that's how the book makes you feel.
Okay, so we all have our pet theories, which I've asked everybody to provide. And that's because I have some that are basically keeping me reading the book. Rather, they kept me reading the book. I finished. But, so my pet theories are Christian Bale playing Batman. And my reason for this theory is that he's very rich, obviously. He's really strong. Later on, I don't know, well, probably even now, she's like, look at his hot body! Christian Bale has a hot body. They're both white men, and I could see it. I could see it happening. Maybe this is my own sublimation of my own Christian Bale fantasies. I don't know.
So is he like buying stuff at the hardware store to fight crime?
Yes.
Okay.
But also to just like show that he's rich.
Okay.
He's just slumming it right now.
Christian Bale, Bruce Wayne would do that kind of a thing. I think we could all agree. So, and my second pet theory is that Kate is Anna's actual dom. She was actually intended to be Anna's dom, but it was an idea that was scrapped. Basically, I believe that Kate is supposed to be the real dom of this story.
I mean, I think she's definitely already sort of manipulating. Maybe it's to show that Anna has the potential to be manipulated and controlled.
Yes, you would say that, except she mentions in the first part of the chapter that Anna has never liked any men. Ergo, Anna must like women. Therefore, she and Kate are involved, and Kate's the dom.
I don't know if that's the case.
Well, that's just why it's a pet theory, isn't it? But
all right.
Moving on.
I do have to just to disagree slightly with your Christian Bale theory.
How dare you?
Oh no, I've angered the churls. I don't think that Batman would actually go to a store like that. He would in disguise. Bruce Wayne would do it in disguise. I don't think.
Oh no, not actual Batman. It would be Bruce Wayne.
No, I don't think Bruce Wayne would do it. Bruce Wayne,
You don't?
No, I think that he would do it in disguise to investigate some sort of a crime or a happening. Because Bruce Wayne's way too visible. He wouldn't be able to do anything.
That's true, but what? Okay, I have another pet theory, which is that maybe this whole book is some extreme cover-up for something that Batman was investigating.
Oh, what if Anna's stepfather or what if her mom, who is some sort of business guru or whatever, is making drugs and
she's actually Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, it's her mom.
Ra's al Ghul, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They have known her. He and Talia al Ghul are known to have had their share of romantic entanglement in the past. Not that I read comics.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, that's perfect.
This theory is starting to hold water. I mean, I'm proud.
My theory is much less interesting. It's just that Gray is going to the hardware store to see Anna, obviously. I think, in fact, I'm almost certain that this is going to be revealed later, that he somehow found out where she worked and came to see her specifically to just, buy stuff and make her feel uncomfortable. I'm trying to figure out what exactly he's doing here. Another theory was that he's just in town and he met somebody that he wants to fuck, and so he was like, oh shit, I gotta get bondage gear. I guess I'll go to the hardware store and pick up some rope and some cable ties and some tape and some coveralls. As soon as he leaves and is done flirting with Anna, he's gonna go back to his hotel room and tie up some lady that we never hear about again.
His makeshift fuck palace. Makeshift fuck palace. That's really hard to say.
Makeshift fuck palace.
Makeshift fuck palace.
To be fair, the coveralls were a last minute pro-marketing strap by Anna.
Yeah. I wonder if they have meetings guys, we have to sell these coveralls. Just
sell.
If someone's doing a project where there's anything messy that might be involved, just sell the coveralls. Chad?
All right, so my pet theory, which I briefly hinted at in, I think, the last podcast, the first podcast, the only other podcast, is that Anastasia is Anastasia, Last Princess of Russia, from the animated film, specifically the animated film Anastasia by Don Bluth, and that Christian Grey is actually Dorian Gray. They are just these two historical and literary fiction giants are meeting. And the book is actually narrated by the Bat Bartok from the film Anastasia, who is also secretly a relative of Batty from Fern Gully. And the reason that Dorian Gray needed all of these particular items was so that he could defeat Rasputin, and also so that he could keep his painting very very safe and secure in his dungeon.
He puts the coveralls on the painting. It's safe now.
If it's narrated by the Bat, is he inhabiting Anastasia's body?
No, he's just crazy.
So that it feels like it's happening to him?
No, he's a third. He's pretending it's a self-insert fantasy fanfiction. He's pretending that he's Anastasia. He's a freaky, not so depraved bat.
That's pretty much exactly what I was thinking, because that's why it's important that he's a relative of Batty from Fern Gully, who is essentially crazy. There's just mental illness runs in their family.
Right. So that there's some kind of it's a genetic disorder. Sad. Yes. Very sad.
I mean, it may in fact just be some sort of schizophrenic hallucination. There's no way to know for sure.
Except to keep reading.
This definitely seems like it could be a schizophrenic hallucination. Next is mechanics. Do you have anything to say about that, Charles?
I do. I'm not very good at picking out mechanics, like I mentioned, but I did notice some things, which I'm gonna scroll down to quotation. As I pull up outside, I know Kate is going to want a blow-by-blow account, and she is tenacious.
Yeah, that sentence is so bad.
I think she means that Kate is always tenacious.
That's what she's trying to say based on context, but the way that it's written, it's two completely separate thoughts.
Right. My notes say, what? Tense fuckery. Grammar, not like we are tense and sexual. She is going to be tenacious, or rather, Kate is her usual tenacious self. I get it. I understood what it meant, but...
Yeah, it should be I knew Kate was gonna give me a hard time, because she is a bitch.
Yes, so there's that. That was the principal worst example. The other, Amira can't. It's just weird tone. This is not really a mechanic, but once again, we get holy crap, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. And then we have damn Catherine Kavanaugh, the whole damn thing we were talking about last podcast. So that's my picks.
I thought this whole chapter was terribly written. There's no purpose to many of the scenes. One of the scenes is one sentence long. Here it is. I've worked at Clayton since I started at WSU. It's the largest independent hardware store in the Portland area, and over the 4 years I've worked here, I've come to know a little bit about most everything we sell, although ironically, I'm crap at any DIY. I leave all that to my dad. Okay, 3 sentences. Still, it's just this piece of exposition that could have very well gone in the next one where she is actually at the store, or it could have gone in the previous section, but it gets its own little return key pushes. I don't know what you call those. Separations.
Paragraph break?
I guess. Anyway, so there's absolutely no point to her being at the store. She's at the store later. She could have just talked about that then. She talks to her mom and dad on the phone, which could have been easily put into the next chapter where she's talking about her family. They introduce Jose, who they could have also introduced in the next chapter when they're wondering who is going to take the photographs. And they could have just been who's going to take the photographs? What about Jose? Oh yeah, Jose is my friend.
My friend. My sexy friend. But my brother. Ultimately my brother.
Some more adjective stacks. Mostly he was courteous, formal, slightly stuffy. He's very driven, controlling, arrogant, scary, but very charismatic.
All right, that one made me really mad when I was reading it. Because, I mean, like, this is... Oh, that was the other thing that I really should have said during my own section. She's telling and not showing. Very bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she is talking and describing him.
I know, but, like, we kind of got the message. Like, I mean, we went to go see him in his giant corporate office, and he said all these words. Like, all right, I got it. I got it. I got it. Stop.
The other one that was great was my subconscious sneers at me, loud, proud, and pouty.
And, okay, so we have to talk about that.
That should be like the name of...
It should be the name of our podcast. Loud, proud, and pouty.
I'm not even sure what she really means by pouty.
Which one of us is loud?
Who's loud, who's proud, who's pouty? This is hard. I want to say that Cherry Doom is proud.
I think Chad might be pouty.
Yeah, Chad is pouty. So that leaves loud, I guess, and I guess I'm loud.
You're loud. You do scream sometimes.
I scream a lot. Yeah, alright. See, it works. It's perfect. It's like she knew she was writing this for us.
So, what were you saying about this? We should talk about it?
No, I think it was the showing and not telling, the towing and not shelling.
She shells, tea tells. Okay, so, like, I know that there's a part where she, you know, develops this other inner personality that guides her.
It's not so much an inner personality, but like a narrative device, and it's really fucking awkward and bad, but go on, yes.
One thing that I guess is sort of okay is that, like, as she's going through, even though does it pretty quickly, like, you can sort of see where she doesn't talk about it as a separate entity inside of her. It's just like there, and then in this one she mentions it as her subconscious, and then I believe in the next chapter she genders it as she. You can, I guess, sort of see like her developing this maybe learning about herself more through this experience.
I just have so many problems with this. First of all, it's not your subconscious. The whole point of a subconscious is that, like, you don't know what's happening with it.
Yeah, that's right.
If her subconscious was really doing all this shit, like, she wouldn't be aware of it. So that's already a huge fucking problem with the name chosen for your stupid narrative device.
That's true.
Second of all, the other reason she really shouldn't call it a subconscious is because it's really, like, just her conscience. Like, not consciousness.
Right.
Conscience, as in, like, moral conscience. Because it wants her to do, like, you better be a prude. I'm your prudy part of you, telling you not to do things. Or, like, telling you to do the right thing. I don't even know if there's, like, a moral. I mean, you guys are just gonna have to tell me, because I'm not prepared to talk about it.
I think maybe the moral is surrender yourself to pleasure?
The moral is be a cantankerous piece of shit!
Oh, Chad, do you have any mechanic notes?
Yeah, I have a couple. You guys mostly covered everything. One big thing, she uses a lot of repetition, and not the kind of repetition that's like a good literary device where you every once in a while repeat something. Like, think Slaughterhouse-5. He has a few phrases that he puts, and they're very effective the way that he uses them. You know, like, so it goes, and that was me, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't overuse them. That's a big problem. She uses a lot of the same exact phrases and words. Like, she uses gaze constantly. She can't think of any other words for looking or seeing or viewing.
I love the gaze, though, because you can read it as, like, Gays. His gaze were watching me.
Another important thing about that is that it's always his gray gaze. She's always, like, it's some sort of weird kenning for just his eyes being on Anna. I don't quite understand that.
Get ready to see that a bazillion more times.
That's great.
A batrillion.
Here's another really big mechanical problem I noticed, and this should be salient to pretty much anybody that can read and write English, I think, is that she almost, without fail, uses the exact same sentence structures. It's literally just subject, verb, and then the rest of the sentence. It's almost always... Like, in some types of, like, minimalist literature, this is fine, but there's still variety, except with, like, Talia al Ghul, where there's not supposed to be any variety. But this is, like, almost every sentence is, I cannot fathom why, I don't understand, she does something, Olivia leaps up, Kate goes to the door, Christian fixes me with his gaze. It's just that over and over again, sometimes within the same sentence. So there'll just be a run-on sentence. It's 3 sentences glued together that are all the same. Also, she has a problem where her prepositional phrases are all structured the same way. It's always like, here, I have like a specific example. Oh yeah, like the typical later that evening, which is a fine thing to say. But she has a few that start with like while and as that are all structured the same way. Like while I was doing this, Kate did And then the rest of her typical sentence structure, which is just a very basic structure. And then two actual places of just like bad writing that immediately jump out at me. Page 18. The first one is she starts this paragraph. It's the like fourth paragraph down, the we live in with we, which one of them was obviously going to be Anna, but it's still too ambiguous for starting a new paragraph, especially where it's supposed to be a break like that. It's obviously supposed to be Anna and Kate, but it's still kind of improper.
Right, she needs to use a proper pronoun and she didn't. I have a question already, though, which is that how much of this do you think is... I'm going to throw this out there. I know that we haven't really talked about it, like, a whole lot, but, you know, she's copying Twilight. She was. How much of this do you think is Stephenie Meyer's bad writing, and how much of this is her own bad writing skills? Or not to say bad writing, because, like, what if she's listening to this and she's like... But she shouldn't be listening to this podcast anyway.
Do you think that she, like, would have studied the sentence structure?
No, but I just mean, like, let's say she has the book next to her and she's like...
Construction.
Like...
Yeah, I do think it's probably some weird combination of both. Because she has a lot of problems that, like, first-time writers seem to have. Like, it reads like total fanfiction by, like, a teenager.
Yeah, I guess the question was how much of it is just her being a fanfiction writer, how much of it is copying?
I haven't read Twilight, so I can't comment on that. But I
have.
But one thing that really appears, like, just every few sentences, I think, is just that, like, this seems like a slightly more sanitized and less all over the place My Immortal, which is, like, if you guys know that, hilariously infamous maybe fake fan fiction. It reads like that.
I loved My Immortal.
So much of this book reads like that, where it's just like Anna constantly saying things in one sentence and then like describing everything and then kind of contradicting herself. So I don't know how much of that is in Twilight, but that is kind of a common like young fan fiction writer problem.
From what I remember, and I wouldn't necessarily encourage that. I've read it. I'll just be the victim for all of us. I've read one of the Twilight books. I would say that at points Twilight can be very awkward, but as far as like story structure and all that, like Stephenie Meyer is better. She is. Like, okay, so the Jose of the Twilight series, the way that he's introduced is done in a much better way. It's not just like, oh, he's a photographer. He's not white and he's super hot, but we're just friends and we are like siblings. Like, I mean, she, in some ways, like, she does encourage the reader to like keep reading the book. Like, it's not very good, but it's certainly not like this.
Yeah,
getting off on a tangent.
It seems like something to look into, maybe just for like a single thing to compare and contrast.
I could do it next time. I could look at it again and be better about it.
If you can tolerate it.
I can do it. It'll be fine.
Okay, I have two final like mechanics things, and they're both pretty short.
Yeah, go for it.
So on page 20, pretty close to the beginning of the first like major paragraph break, Anna is like describing Catherine, who's still kind of sick and typing, and the sentence is, her nose is still pink, but she has her teeth into a story, so she's concentrating and typing furiously. Like that sentence hangs together okay, but like it's still kind of awkward. But the major thing here, I think, is that the previous two sentences are both descriptive imagery. So it's like Catherine is wearing headphones and working on her laptop. And then the next sentence is her nose is still pink, but she has her teeth. So starting like going into that way, that metaphor.
Oh, do you think she means her literal
That's
teeth?
what it sounds like because of how she's...
Well, it sounds like she's some kind of like pink nose book biting freak or something.
Right. Because she set up descriptive imagery that way. If she had started like really there, what she should have done is like she sunk her teeth into the story. So like... Yeah,
I see.
That would make it the like...
I would even
idiom.
split it up with sentences.
Yeah, that's an even better thing.
She was XYZ, period. It was clear that she had her teeth sunk into her blah blah fuck whatever.
Either of those things would have helped. Either breaking it up or just rearranging like the idiom slightly to make it sound less like she's describing something that's actually happening. So the last thing within that same paragraph, and there are a couple more things, but they're really minor, like throughout the rest of the chapter. The same paragraph where the immediate next sentence, which is, I'm thoroughly drained, exhausted by the long drive, by the grueling interview, and by being swamped at Clayton's. That list, I just feel like the last thing, and by being swamped at Clayton's, because of how like, the way that the verb is conjugated there, by being swamped at Clayton's, doesn't gel with the rest of the list. It just really sticks out as sounding awkward to me.
Oh man, we have a difference in version, I think, because in my book this reads, I'm thoroughly drained, exhausted by the long drive, the grueling interview, and being rushed off my feet at Clayton's. Not swamped.
That must be a British thing.
Yeah, it is a British thing, actually.
Yeah, that sounds like a Britishism. It also flows better, so that's interesting. An editor that is terrible.
The worst editor.
Yep, and that's pretty much all I have for mechanics. That just about covers, I think, everything that she does in totality throughout the book.
We had lots of complaints.
Next is favorite lines.
So my 2 favorite lines are tied because I just couldn't pick. So this first line is in reference to Tess of the D'Urbervilles, which she's reading. She says, "Damn, but that woman was in the wrong place at the wrong time in the wrong century." This is my favorite sentence because it's completely totally inappropriate and it doesn't make any sense. First of all, this is like it's classic Americant, and it's also a comma crime. There's no comma in that sentence whatsoever. You would think wrong place, comma, wrong time, comma, in the wrong century or something. It's so fucking bad. Like, it just intrinsically is the worst. My runner-up to that was when Christian is in the hard hiking hardware store. His voice is warm and husky, like dark melted chocolate fudge caramel ... or something.
That was a great line.
Commit to the sentence. You don't say all that with no commas and then say or something.
Oh, I was gonna say that's a definite case of not being able to tell if that's the author or the character.
Yeah, exactly. Like I can see like she talks about her not finding any guy who is attractive to her, but how she does like long for a knee weakening romance. And so I feel like she's like maybe like saying, "Oh man, this is just like this simile from a romance novel or something."
Yeah, that's what it seems like it could be.
I see that's probably what she was going for.
That's probably what it was.
It's not very good. Maybe if it had been in her italics voice or something.
The thing that really like flags it for me as being something that maybe she just like wrote and was like, "Oh, to cover this up, I'll just hand wave it." Like
Yeah, like it almost seems like she's ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Well, it's the use of husky because it's obviously supposed to be out of place, but I don't know if like she wrote that thinking and then later like when they were going over it or she was rereading it or something, she's like, "That doesn't make any sense." She just threw in the like or something to hand wave it.
You know what? It kind of smacks of like when any of us are writing fiction. Like, do you ever just like write like weird shit?
Yeah, I always put in...
Yeah, notes to yourself. That's what it sounds like.
I always put in brackets, write something better.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it sounds like to me.
However, it also sounds a little bit Americant because like or something is something that...
Yeah, I can see that kind of like dry humor maybe.
Sorry, I mean like in my dialect, if I say like, "Oh, like he's really nice, blah blah blah," or something. This is also comma crime as fuck. Like it's the adjective stacking. Melted chocolate fudge caramel. No, God damn it. His voice, okay, warm and husky like dark melted chocolate fudge caramel. There's no breaks. It's all those things.
I don't think those are adjectives. That's just a flavor of Sunday.
It's like those things. So they become like descriptors.
I suppose.
Sorry, it's not an adjective. That's the wrong part of speech. I'm wrong. So those are my 2 favorites.
My favorite is at the beginning of the chapter. She says, "No man has ever affected me the way Christian Grey has, and I cannot fathom why. Is it his looks, his civility, wealth, power? I don't understand my irrational reaction." This is like...
That's a great line.
She explains why she would like this person. He's nice and powerful and wealthy and handsome as fuck. This is so irrational.
The thing that really made that line for me, though, is that she says, like, "I don't understand my irrational reaction." Why would you understand something that's irrational? How could you rationalize something you don't understand because it's irrational?
She realizes on some level that it is irrational. But she doesn't understand it. But she does understand it.
It doesn't make sense. And like Cherry Doom said, she explained it.
I don't understand like what she would think would be rational, like if she liked him for his
or like his money maybe
personality or sense of humor or something. But even that might be considered more rational since evolutionarily
oh my god,
it makes less sense.
Evo truths.
I guess on some level you could say that the author is just kind of explicitly stating that, you know, emotions aren't really rational and she's not really sure how to react to her first real emotional like awakening towards a guy, and it's really more pure animal magnetism versus like she was attracted to him via his actual like attributes that most people would throw up to rationalize that sort of thing.
Oh, maybe she, instead of saying irrational, she should have said like illogical, even though it does sound like really stupid. But like that's really what she means. It's not a logical reaction. She doesn't like him for reasons. She likes him because she feels a certain way. This could also be a section where like if she was a better writer, she would be writing this in third person limited. I believe that. So
Yep.
this is a place where you would say Anna couldn't understand her illogical reaction. I don't know if that really holds up, but that's how it strikes me.
Chad, favorite line?
So my favorite line is not actually an entire line. It's just the end of a phrase. She's like talking, it's like right after she's talked to Christian in the hardware store, and she's talking about her mind needing to like get away from the subject of him. And she uses like on bended knee, which is a phrase that I have heard but not really ever heard used. So I wasn't sure if she was maybe like trying to use it as a reference to something else, like some other book or a movie or something. So I Googled it, and the first result is, for like 2 pages, is Boys to Men, because there's a Boys to Men song called On Bended Knee. So that's what I thought. Maybe I was just like, oh, maybe she's just referencing the Boys to Men song. So while I was finishing the chapter, I listened to that song. That's why it's my favorite line.
Oh, cool. But wait, where's the line? Can you read the rest of the sentence?
Page 28. So the paragraph starts with, what is your thing, Anastasia? And then the whole sentence is, try to be cool, Anna. My tortured subconscious begs on bended knee, which is also, that seems really British to me.
Yeah, it does seem really British. You're right.
I wonder if that's supposed to be submissive?
Yeah, a little bit like begging on, rather than on bended knee, which sounds very manly. Because when I think of a bended knee, I think of proposing. My other thought when Chad was saying like it made him laugh was like, is this some kind of weird sexual? Like what are you bending your knee for? Like, is someone gonna fuck it? Like, what? But no, it's just bad.
Yeah, and then immediately after, where she says, books, I whisper, like, she's just so taken that she just can only whisper out the word books as to what her thing is.
Books. Oh, I want to talk about the use of the word whisper.
Yeah, let's, please.
Okay, when I think of whisper, I think of something that cannot be heard unless you were right up in their ear.
That's what I think of too.
But I feel like bad fiction people use it much more. I don't know what it is. They could use something else. So there are many words.
I think it's for dramatic effect.
I guess so, but like, I'm like, shouldn't he be like, what did you just say? I can't hear you. Speak up.
Well, it's funny. It's whispering and it's like muttering is bad in this book, and also gasping. Can we talk about gasping soon?
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed that though?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's what I think of when I think of gas. Like, like I don't think she means that.
I mean, I think it's just people like, maybe a little bit less, but
yeah, it has to be a lot less like I would never.
Still,
I would never be like, because like someone touched me. Unless I really didn't want it.
Like, I feel like Christian, if she was like gasping and whispering, he'd be like, are you okay? Am I making you uncomfortable?
Are you having an asthma attack? I can't hear you. You're whispering and gasping.
That's another thing I've been wondering, like, how obvious is this to Christian or anybody else? Because something that I noticed, like, at the very end is that she's just been constantly flushing and blushing, like, through this entire encounter. So she should, like, have passed out by now.
I feel like she didn't do any of that in the first chapter.
She flushed a few times.
She definitely did some flushing and blushing.
Yeah, she blushed through most of the interview. She was mostly like red in the face. But this chapter, Christian just kept doing things that made her flush and blush. And I feel like she would have passed out at some point from all the blood. It's constantly entering and leaving her head.
Well, you would think that, but as somebody who used to be very shy and easily embarrassed high schooler, you can blush forever and not pass out. Unless it's like some kind of like angry blush, in which case, yes.
Well, but I mean, if your blood is treating your head like a toilet where it's constantly entering and leaving, like, how about that? How's that going to make you feel? I used to be pretty shy too, although I'm incapable of blushing.
Definitely, yes, I've been shy, but my head is definitely not a blood toilet.
That's probably for the best.
So next is what was bad.
What was bad? What was bad? Ooh, I have so many notes about what was bad. Telling and not showing, that was bad. Everything with Kate was really bad. So her first response to Kate asking her how the interview went is, oh no, here we go, like here's the Inquisition. That's not a direct quote, but it might be, I don't remember. Kate asking her questions all seems very reasonable considering this is Kate's interview that she missed. Anna is such like a cantankerous little fuck. That's what's in my notes and I believe it. Also, by the way, and this falls in with my Dom pet theory, Kate masterminded this whole fucking situation. She's not even that sick if she can bound up and hug Anna. If it was the drive, Anna could have driven her. If the reason that she didn't go was like that she didn't want to drive 4 hours, could have been driven. She could have called it in. She could have called Christian Grey. I don't think a phone interview interview is unacceptable. I think it's fine. I mean, she wouldn't be able to record the answers that he gave, but she could take notes. Come on. Like, why would you take notes? You have a recording, a perfect recording.
And, like, I guess, like, you know, his body language or what he looks like or, you know, how he was sitting in his office or whatever. Like they do in, like, Rolling Stone type articles.
Yeah, like the preamble to articles, like, Christian Grey sits in his super duper corporate mansion on the white couch, the white L-shaped couch with buttons. Don't ask me why I remember that.
And then Catherine's like, oh, it's fine. I don't need to make notes. And so if all she needed was the audio and the questions being answered, then she could have done it over the phone, like, over and over again.
Could have called it in. Furthermore, if I were Kate in this scene, I would at least act like I was still sick. Like, the pajama pants, they mean nothing to me. You can't show her being like, oh, Anna! Like, you know, like giving her a hug and bounding up, but then have Anna say, oh, she's wearing her fluffy bunny pants. That means she's really sick. Like, no, if she was acting really sick, that would mean she was really sick. When Anna says, why didn't you do the background checks on the question? All that Kate has to say is, geez, Anna, I'm sorry, I didn't think. This is not sufficient.
She says that twice. She says, geez, Anna, I'm sorry, twice.
Geez, Anna, I'm sorry. I didn't think. Couldn't she say that she was too sick to think of it? But no, she couldn't because she was faking it, because she masterminded the whole thing. Well, she got Anna to do all this shit for her because she didn't feel like doing it. The soup that she's eating must be some, like, nectar of the gods because she's suddenly better.
So here's an interesting theory about the pants. So the pants were described, like her rabbit pajama pants were described as being for her breakups and when she's sick, basically anything that would be really, you know...
Oh shit, are you going where I think you're going with this?
Maybe. I basically my new pet theory for that is that Kate's wearing them because she's sending Anna off into the world to the wolves of, like, Christian Grey.
Yeah!
So
what?
That's why she's wearing them.
Dude, so... she's the old dom, and she's like, oh god, like, me and Anna are broken up. Well, the best I can do for her is show her this new hot guy. Whoa.
And that's why she's wearing the pants. She's not really sick.
Mind fucking blown. Ah, so good. Okay, so, but for more bad things. The hardware store lull, so that's to say the first time she goes to the hardware store, and the parent phone calls, like, is it necessary? I'm gonna say no. Usually when mothers or parents are called in stories, it's happening while other shit is happening at the same time. Just for, like, a throwaway example, let's say that my character is defusing a bomb and suddenly the phone rings. Oh my god, maybe it's the ransom holder, but they pick up the phone and it's just mom saying, like, when are you gonna be home for dinner? Like, I think that is a way better way to introduce the fact that they have parents and that these parents will be important.
Or, you know, if they show, like, oh, I need to call my mom because I'm so sad or distraught or whatever.
See, that would be better. You can't just have, like, these innocuous phone calls. It's not good. Or they could have flashbacks, like flashbacks of your childhood, the time your mom was nice to you, whatever. Not a phone call. Ray, the character Ray, is obviously Charlie from Twilight, but with no biological relation. Anna being the pusher for contact rather than Charlie being the pusher for contact. Because he was, like, a sad, rejected dad accepting Bella into his house, I guess. And she was always like, ugh, fuck you, Dad.
I like how he describes Ray as still alive. But at this time, it's like, he's still alive.
Another bad thing, Jose, shows up. He is the second non-white person we've seen in this story. Mm-hmm. He's a clone of Jacob with certain aspects changed to make him less important. He's an artist. He's apparently not a Native American or a werewolf.
Hey, man.
But he is Hispanic.
That doesn't make him less important.
No, it doesn't make him less important, for sure. But the reason that he's not important is that he doesn't really figure into the story. Mm-hmm. Not because of any of these other external things. Finally, my inner Charles is screaming with desire. Where's the sex? If not the sex, where's the bondage? Like, for instance, when he's buying the cable ties and the tape, he could be like, how do I know you're not selling me crap? Are these really that strong? Let me try them on you. That never happened. He didn't give her an intro in the back room when no one was looking. Oops, this is a romance novel. Like, we can't do those things. And she really limits herself with this. I don't see the romance plot as anything but to keep the sex scenes really vanilla. It doesn't push its limits, especially early on. It's not showing a lot of promise. Like, there's a glimmer, you know, there's a tiny glimmer.
And something, like, when I was reading this, like, they're talking about the things he's buying and, like, the things he's saying. He's like, oh, he's so attractive. What does he mean by buying these cable ties? But then, like, she doesn't, like, connect it to sex at all.
Right, there's no follow through.
But then, like, at the end, she's like, oh, I'm a raging mess of female hormones.
I'm a raging lady boner.
And maybe that's to show her being innocent, but I don't know.
So the final bad thing when she imagines him without jeans, but specifically just without jeans, like, damn, you look really good with your drunken legs out with socks on and shoes.
Well, he might still be wearing his underwear.
Yeah, well, it's still like, ooh, a dude in his shirt and underwear. Whee! Like, okay, yes, I get it. It is kind of hot.
If it's boxer briefs. Okay. So we're gonna open Cherry Doom's shitty toy bag. Basically, almost everything Christian Grey bought is terrible. First of all, cable ties, you should never use them for bondage. Like, I guess be really mean to a person.
The police do not use cable ties because they're like inhumane. Like only
Exactly. Yeah. Because since they only go the one direction, they can basically just tighten and tighten until your circulation's cut off, and to where the point where you can't get like a pair of scissors under them to cut them off. If you use like a knife, then that's really dangerous. So I don't know what the fuck he's gonna do with these cable ties, but Anna better run the fuck away, or natural filament rope, which is really vague because there are many types of natural filament rope. It could be sisal or hemp or manila or cotton. Sisal and manila are really, really fibrous, and like they have all these little rope splinters sticking out from them, and they're really scratchy. They can give you a rash, and like little rope splinters can get like embedded in your skin, so you never want to use that on human skin. Hemp is usually the choice for true rope enthusiasts. If Grey was really trying to ease Anna into this stuff, then he should have gotten nylon rope, because it's nice and shiny and very silky and soft, and the knots come undone really easily. And they usually have lots of it at hardware stores. And then he bought masking tape, which seems really strange because, like, it's usually just kind of a beige color that's not very attractive. And it's not very functional because it's just, like, masking tape is just really easy to tear. It probably leaves a sticky residue. The other options for tape would be electrical tape and duct tape, which would be, more attractive, shiny or black. And they would also probably leave residue, but, at least they look nice.
I'm already regretting this. What if he just wants to, like, not actually restrain her with the tape, but what if he just wants to, I don't know, tie up somebody's boobies in, like, a tape shirt or something?
I get if that were the case, then that would be probably that would be a good choice, because
right, it's easy to take off. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be as painful on your...
Breaking news, Christian Grey likes to tie up ladies' boobies in tape shirts!
Spoilers.
Okay, and finally, the coveralls. And we talked about, like, the upsell on that, maybe. But, like, is he just, like, being like, I gotta make this look like a legit operation. I better buy something else that a do-it-yourselfer would wear. Coveralls? Okay, yes, I'm a hardware man. Yep. But, like, he's obviously trying to tease her, so, like, why wouldn't he be like, oh, I don't need cover... I mean, he was like that. He was like, oh, I don't need coveralls, I'll just take my clothes off.
I think he was just humoring her.
Maybe she gets commissions on coveralls.
I doubt it.
No, I think that's him being indulgent, like, oh yes, like, oh buy, yes.
I'll buy the common folks' clothing. This is what they wear down there, isn't it?
Isn't it? Isn't this what the poors do?
He's trying to fit in, to blend in with the proletariat. I was amused by Anna's reactions, because I don't think, working at a hardware store, if someone came in, even despite his pure animal manly magnetism, like, why would you be like, why is he buying cable ties? Maybe he needs to tie some cables. Why would, like, and it's not like she doesn't appear to have any knowledge of bondage and restraints and anything. So she wasn't thinking of that. It's being hinted at very poorly.
And yet...
She's, like, so nervous about, like, about the things he's buying.
It kind of implies that she is getting a little turned on by what he's buying, but really, a normal reaction to this sort of thing, someone buying masking tape, rope, and cable ties, is he's going to abduct someone.
That's all for Cherry Doom's shitty toy bag. Okay, so, I want to talk about the universally desired protagonists, where everyone loves the main character, but she, like, can't see it, or she sees it, but she's like, I don't understand why. Like, okay, they introduced that Paul, Jose, and Christian all are, like, taken with her. It's super obvious with Jose and Paul, but, like, she like, is in denial about Christian. Oh, he's not taken with me. This was just a coincidence that he was here. He can't like me. I'm so plain and scruffy. Like, I wonder if it's...
It's not really realistic. Like, let me tell you something. I'm not gonna try and make some kind of judgment about how I look or how many guys like me ever. When I am surrounded by men, and it seems like they like me, my attitude is not to say like, why do they like me? I'm so scruffy, but to be like, It's like, it just makes me feel better about myself. Like, who cares how I look?
Yeah.
I'm surrounded by ass.
Well, you are clearly not as modest as Kate.
I guess not. I mean, what is this? Why do people think that, like, this would be the reaction? Because, like...
Like, why doesn't anybody feel this way about gorgeous Gammon Kate?
Exactly. Like, Kate is way more charismatic and, like, really great. And everybody's just like, oh, Kate, that bitch. She always wants to find out about things.
Okay, I just want to play devil's advocate just for a second about this. This is entirely from Anna's perspective. Maybe she's just like perceiving this even though she's wrong. And then also Kate, who knows? Maybe she's just as full of herself about how much people like her.
Yeah, maybe.
That's true, yeah.
But I definitely think it's Mary Sue, like that's the problem. I agree, but just to be fair, it's a little unfair to accuse like Anna of being full of herself in a way that's like, oh, woe is me, and like Kate's not that way. We don't know that, but I definitely think it's more just bad writing. So
It's bad writing, but it's not something that's, discouraged very much. Like,
not amongst fan fiction writers.
well, I mean, and even in fiction, like Hunger Games, everybody loves her, and she's like, why does everybody love me? In Twilight, everybody loves her. Like, she has to like tell everyone not to ask her to prom. You should go with the other Asian. And Showgirls. Another example where everybody falls in love with the main character.
Was Showgirls written by a woman?
No.
I didn't think so. But I was going to say, like, but to get away from that, like, is this the sort of thing that you really see cropping up in other sorts of, like literature?
I've been thinking on this as you guys have been talking, and my conclusion is that the reason that you see this trope, if you do see it at all, is that it's some kind of reflection of, like, the cultural, for, like, how a woman should act when she's beloved. She shouldn't take advantage of it, but she should be modest.
Well, but I was just, like, can you think of specific examples, like, by female writers?
Like the Bronte sisters, like Jane Eyre, I think is a classic example.
Anything more modern, like anything more contemporary. Because, like, definitely way back when, that's certainly, like, understandable as why that would be written that way.
Twilight, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying, like, outside of, like, bad writers. Like, this sort of a trope is a thing. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of... You saying, like, the Bronte sisters is a little unfair because of how far back that was. That's a little more contextual. I think, like, with...
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, this is a bad writer thing. And people that, like, take writing courses are discouraged from writing shit like this.
It's not only a bad writer thing, but it's, like, an antiquated writer thing. So, like...
A lot of male writers do it because they can't write women. Like,
men don't understand women, and so they think that women should act that way.
Right.
Or they have some kind of antiquated notion. I think that that's not completely uncommon, but if we're talking about, like, women writers alone, like, I really couldn't give you any examples.
The sorts of people that hadn't really had a lot of time to either practice writing or, like, examine this sort of these sort of social issues and like portrayal of women in popular culture and fiction and this sort of thing, like, E.L. James and Stephanie Meyer. They would obviously write this sort of thing because, one, they might actually believe it. Two, it's a really common trope, so they're just copying it. So, like, that's what I meant. Like, other writers that are acknowledged as being good or sort of classic, why they might not do it or why, like, they might characterize characters better. I just think it's mostly a bad fiction thing. You guys basically touched on everything that I wanted to. But my main criticisms about what was bad, again, the structure of the chapter is awful. It jumps all over the place. Most of the extra stuff with, like, her mom and Jose could have either been integrated into, like, one scene better or a few scenes rather than just all these disparate scenes taking place in Anna and Kate's apartment over, and it was like a week or something, or 2 weeks. I don't even know. The first chapter is 1 day. The second chapter is like 2 weeks. And like the first chapter is like an afternoon. It's not even like the full day because the rest of the day.
So, like, would you say that's universally a bad thing to do? Like, let's say, so in the first chapter, it's like an instance, like something happens. And then the next chapter, it's like it takes a longer time period. Could it work?
Yes, it can definitely work. I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that the way that it's written, it's just that she didn't know how to string everything together. She didn't have a way of coherently making this chapter series of events unfold without just putting it over 2 weeks. Kate and Anna just basically say, we took our exams. It's not like there's any focus on how stressful they were or anything like that, which was a big thing in the first chapter. That's all just glossed over. So it's totally fine to just have a character, like have sections where there's action doesn't happen for a couple weeks or something, but usually you don't have episodes from like what's going on there when they're mundane and seem to have no bearing on what's going on. A really good example of this is in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, where, I don't know, have you guys read that or seen either of the movies?
I've read
Nope.
it, yeah.
I have not seen or read it.
The David Fincher movie is very good. The Swedish one is very boring, and the book is terrible crap. Don't read it. This is just my opinion.
It is pretty bad.
Yeah, the book's really bad. The main character is an author insert. It's just like literally the guy that wrote the book. He's completely boring, completely static. Also, Elizabeth is a terribly characterized person. She's basically like what somebody who has a very vague understanding and wants to be really fair about what like someone with Asperger's could be like. That's the sort of character she is. So at the beginning of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the main character is, I'm just going to say is Daniel Craig. So Daniel Craig in court for libel. He loses that court case. So it's established at the beginning of the book that he's going to have to spend time in jail. So there's actually a section of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo book where he has to go to jail in the middle of his investigation. So he's in jail.
Put Daniel Craig in jail. Oh, so hot.
So there's literally a section of the book where he goes to jail and he's like, oh, white collar prison, it's not so bad. Then he gets out and then he's like, now to go back to the investigation. Like that happens in the book.
They were on the bed and she said, let's all fuck, so we did.
There's only two more bad things I want to talk about. One is sort of the structure. She uses the structure to introduce a bunch of characters that have very little characterization. Like she introduces Paul, both her mom and her stepdad, and Jose, all within the span of 10 pages. They're all basically unimportant. Like none of them figure into the rest of the chapter. They will probably figure into the rest of the book, but it's not clear really like what sort of point there will be to any of that from their introduction. Jose doesn't seem to have any meaningful impact on Anna's life. She basically writes him off right then and there. She does the same thing to her mom. And like her dad, like her stepdad is like, oh, he's a guy that I like. And that's about it. Like, so maybe she'll get some advice from him later on as a father figure.
I can sort of see what she's doing because I'm a person who writes fan fiction, and I do sometimes do things with, alternate universes. And you have to, like, place these characters from the original fiction. And it's like, oh, everybody's probably wondering where this character is. Here they are. And here's this guy. And there's that guy over there.
But the problem is once it changes over from fan fiction to like an original thing, you can't do that anymore.
Oh, here's a quick quote about her stepdad that I want to read that I'd like your opinions on about what it really means. It starts with, it's a brief conversation. In fact, it's not so much a conversation as a one-sided series of grunts in responses to my gentle coaxing. Is Anna just going there like, come on, Dad, come on? And then it's just like lots of grunts like,
He's a warthog. She's trying to get out of a hole.
If you read that sentence in a really nerdy voice, it's even funnier.
Later that evening, I call Ray my stepdad, Mom's husband number 2, the man I consider my father, and the man whose name I bear. It's a brief conversation. It's a one-sided series of grunts.
Like, that's something like a 12-year-old would say after talking to, like, actually having a conversation with somebody where they're just, not forthcoming.
Yeah, it's a real like, thanks, Dad conversation.
Thanks a lot, Dad. Thanks for just grunting in response to my gentle coaxing.
Okay, so the very last thing for the what was bad that I wanted to ask about was Anna's being just completely overcome throughout this chapter. So I don't have this sort of experience of ever like being this overcome with like lust or emotion, and I was wondering if this...
Oh, you're not a girl.
You're not a girl.
Yeah, so that's what I
Watching
was
a boy's
wondering.
mouth and his fingers on his mouth.
Is this a legitimate characterization? His long fingers. His long, slender fingers.
A boy's long fingers.
Gonna get all the way up in there.
It takes him 10 minutes to run his fingers through his hair because his fingers are that long.
It's more like he's running his hair through his fingers, if we're being honest.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
Hair follicles running through a field of fingers.
Wait, let's just get opinions, and Chad, just pretend that you like to be penetrated for this part.
Okay.
But do we prefer the long and thin finger, or do we prefer the short and fat finger? What do we prefer?
Whatever cuts the deepest.
I kind of would prefer the not to be anywhere near me.
Just don't let Christian ever touch you.
Yeah.
Don't let anyone ever touch you. Stay away from people forever.
I mean, that's kind of how I feel, so I'm not really qualified to answer this question.
But I guess then I posed the same statement to you that I did to Chad, which is pretend that you want it.
Oh, okay. I guess I would prefer 2 long and thin fingers. And then that makes up for the fat ones.
I'm sorry,
Short
I can't
fat
get on
ones.
board with that. I need. Let's not talk about my needs. But basically, I don't prefer those scary Severus Snape fingers anywhere near me. Please.
You want
I
some
don't
Peter
like
Pettigrew
that.
fingers.
You just want the little chubby fingers all up in. That was a great reaction.
I'm sorry. Well, that's good that we talked about that. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah.
So back to like the being totally overcome thing. Like, is this a normal everyday thing?
No.
It is in romance novels.
Totally overcome. Well, like, what are the, how does she describe this again? Reminds me.
She's just like blushing and like, has to whisper all
Well,
the time.
she's constantly like talking about her heart. Her heart is like racing to the point where she can't concentrate. She's out of breath. Like, she's blushing and flushing. She's whispering. Her voice gets husky. She just has no control.
The only time that happens with me is in like a bedroom situation. At no point in my day-to-day life am I ever like that. Ever.
Right.
If I'm about to talk to somebody I get like really, I guess like a kind of, I think it's more anxiety than, overcome with something like just like nervousness and like physical anxiety.
I get more of like the dry mouth and like the like feeling like, oh my god, my body's not real. Like,
And see,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm wondering, because these do sound like anxiety symptoms rather than like lust or something, you know? Because like I agree with like Churls. Like in my experience, the only time I ever get that sort of emotionally out of control for the briefest of moments is like in a bedroom situation. I just like meeting somebody in person like this doesn't really seem like the sort of thing where you'd completely lose control of your emotions and your hormones and just like.
That's why it's so amazing. It's so powerful. It's special.
when you're writing, like, you can't just have things be so powerful all the time. You know, whatever wise man said, like, how can you have joy without sorrow? How can you have fun without boring? How can you have a high state of arousal without having a very low state of arousal? How can you know what it's like?
Every time she sees Jose, it's the low state of arousal. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if like Anna's just, you know, wandering around the hardware store, weak at the knees, like tumbling into everything, breathing like I can't take it. She's just like grasping at her chest, like grabbing it like screwdrivers on the walls, they tumble down.
That would be hotter than what happens in this novel. Now we are talking about good thing. Alright, there's one good thing. I'll tell you what it is. Christian has a beautifully manicured hand. I could do without all the descriptors. Beautifully manicured, that's weird.
Christian has a hand.
But no, I don't know that most ladies are grossed out, and I'm basing this on my own experience, if a guy's hand is not well groomed.
Yep.
So saith me, Charles. If the hand is groomed, then the vag has room. If the hand is scraggly, then pack your baggly.
Getting that cross-stitched on my wall.
Note the early focus on hands and fingers. You already have, of course, by him running his hair through his very long fingers. That is the only good thing I have to say. There it is. I like that he has clean hands.
That he's got a good hand. And she noticed, alright. I don't know this. I don't think this is something that is intentional at all. But I can sort of identify with what Christian is doing. Like, anytime that I go to the hardware store to, like, buy some rope or some locks that I'm gonna be using for bondage, like, I am, like, really, I'm kind of nervous, but I'm also, like, kind of excited, like, oh my god, are they gonna realize what I'm doing here?
Would you ever really like it if some, like, I don't know, somehow you can obviously tell that the guy helping you find things is, like, some sub, and he's like, eh.
I don't know about that. It's just like, it's more of like a cry for attention, I think. It's just like, oh god, I hope somebody notices me and is like thinking like, is she gonna tie somebody up with that stuff? What an interesting girl.
What an interesting girl.
And this isn't like I don't think that's what Gray is doing. I mean, he's obviously trying to get her to notice what he's doing, but like, I don't think that, I mean, he's obviously not like a fucking self-centered.
Are you sure?
He is self-centered, like I am when I'm doing that sort of thing. But I mean, you know, this is played off as a good thing, a hot thing, rather than, you know, something that is pathetic and ridiculous. And for your information, nobody ever notices. Nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, no one cares. I agree. No one cares.
And so that's not really a good thing at all. But I didn't like anything.
No, I'm sorry.
But I did identify with this, sort of.
I liked when it was over.
That's good.
Can't do that for every chapter now.
Yeah, this is the only chance you get.
Gotta find something
No,
good.
I didn't really.
We're not trying to be super negative here.
There wasn't really anything redeeming for me. I couldn't identify with anything in this chapter. I did just notice something that I wanted to comment on very briefly. I'm pretty sure Portland has a bag tax. The end.
That's a good... See, that's okay. That's a nice thing about Portland. We all learned something.
Yeah.
She didn't do good enough background research.
Naughty. Fuck that. Let's move on. Safe word. I had a safe word. I'm gonna tell you what it is. When Jacob shows up and he invites Anna and Kate to his photography thing, and when Anna says, I see him as a brother, I have to safe word out. I'm very uncomfortable when I read this. It's too painful to read. It's so fucking sad. He does that tacked on Kate invite after staring into Anna's eyes like, ooh. And then like right after that, she says like, that's fine. That's not romantic. I think the author thinks that it's the norm that us ladies don't know when a guy is just hanging out with us when he wants to fuck us. I'm really uncomfortable with this interaction between them because it's a really clear example, like the friend zone. Like she is friend zoning him hardcore right here.
Do you think that this would be like a telltale example that someone who a quote unquote nice guy would point to and say, see, they do this?
Yes, I do, and that's part of why it makes me uncomfortable. Like, because it's not, nobody does this, do they? Maybe they do. But yes, that's why I say figure it out, because maybe they do. I will still hang out with somebody that I know I have sexual tension with, even if I'm in a relationship. But I try to make sure we're on the same page. I make it really clear that either I don't want to date, or that I have a special someone right now if I do, and I do now. I try to be aware of people's feelings towards me, because, like, I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to hurt myself. I've made mistakes before, in my youth, with maybe friend zoning, if you want to call it that. But, like, you can't discount severing. If this isn't appropriate and it's clear that, like, he obviously likes her, she needs to, like, have a talk with him. This is a boundary thing. Like, It's really big. She's really bad with boundaries. This is something we'll see later. So that's my safe word.
Yeah, mine also has to do with Jose, but what I am safe wording is, let's see, what is it? Jose is studying engineering and is the first in his family to make it to college. He's pretty damn bright, but his real passion is photography. This is like... seems like not even... I don't know how to take this. Like, it seems like maybe some veiled racism, because he's clearly, like, Hispanic, and, like, and he's, the first in his family to make it to college. That could be either, like, a poverty kind of thing, but I don't know.
I don't know if it is. Like, okay, so his father was in the army with Anna's father. So his father could have gotten a college education under the GI Bill.
Well, that's not unusual. Like, my grandfather fought in World War II, and, like, right at the end of high school. He didn't actually finish high school, and then, like, he didn't go to college.
I think that might be the case for mine, too. Though he was a teacher, so maybe... Anyway.
Both my grandfathers were in World War II. But one was a Navy officer, and the other was, like, a flight guy. He went in the sky. A flight guy.
A pilot.
Yeah, a pilot.
Sky guy, flies high.
Fly guy, sky guy. Where does he fly? Up in the sky.
And also, like, the qualifier that he's pretty damn bright just strikes me as odd. Both of these things are not in the fan fiction, where Jake is not Hispanic. So, like, I feel like she's saying Jose is Hispanic, but he's pretty damn bright, and he's in college.
Right, maybe that's some, like, dog whistle racism.
Yeah. And then yes, Jose is pretty hot, but I think he's finally getting the message. We're just friends. Like, I don't... Like, is there just, like, some weird thing where they haven't addressed this ever?
It's hurting me to look at this. It's hurting me to think about this. Finding cute, he's just not for me. Like, ugh, just stop.
Okay, yes. I do, and it is the same as my favorite line, on bended knee, because stop, boys to men. But in lieu of that, there's also her line about she must be, yes, I must be the color of the Communist Manifesto, which I think is supposed to mean she's very bright red, but in fact the original Communist Manifesto was black and white.
Maybe she's very pale.
Yeah, maybe. She has been blushing and flushing repeatedly.
yeah, that's it. So now we go into the spoiler dungeon. Okay. So, did we ever find out if he used that shit he bought at the hardware store, including the coveralls?
Yes. Yes, we find out. No, he does not use most of it. I think he might use the cable ties. The rope is never used. The coveralls are never used. The tape
Damn, I was waiting to see
used.
him in those baggy coveralls.
I know.
Farmhand roleplay.
Farmhand roleplay.
Was he using it to fuck another chick that night? Do we ever find out about that?
Yes, we find out. No, he was not.
So he was just there to...
He was fucking stalking her. Here's what happens, idiots. Not you guys, but our listeners. You're idiots for listening.
We're all idiots
Here's what
here.
happens, idiots. Look, the author, Miss James, Mr. James, I don't know what gender her pseudonym is. She writes a section at the end of the third book, and it is from the point of view of Christian. And he shows up at the store after he does a creepy background check on Anna. He goes there specifically because he knows that she works there.
They don't explain that till the very end.
They don't ever explain it. Or
Holy
maybe
shit,
they-
that... You know what that's like? That's like a horror movie reveal.
Yes, it is.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's
Yes,
it
amazing.
is.
I kind of wish you hadn't told me.
I mean, I assumed that that's what was happening.
I mean, yeah, I did assume that, but I kind of like the way that's a very interesting way to go about it.
No, I mean, I think that at one point it may get brought up, like, oh, I thought you were going to your business thing. No, I was coming to see you. Like,
Is Jose ever a serious contention for Anna's affections?
not a serious contender. No.
Okay. Like, it's not a Twilight situation where, you know, she's like, I can't decide.
Yeah. She doesn't ever give him a second thought.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
Is there ever any sword fighting?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't.
There
think
is
so.
fighting.
Are there any cults? Is there anything interesting in this book? That's what I'm asking.
That's only something that you'll have to find the answer deep in your heart.
Only time will tell.
You don't have to read this book, you know.
Oh no, I am enjoying.
We can replace you.
Well, if you feel you must.
You wanted to talk about the hands. I mean, I assume he's gonna finger her real good.
Yeah, he sure is.
In a
Okay.
police lineup. Is there anything you want to ask yourself, Charles?
Is there anything I want to ask myself? Why did you read the third novel, Charles? I don't know. I didn't know it was gonna be like that. If you could rewind time, would you do it? Yeah, I would.
We should never-ending story the last book and just each write a section about how we fit into this universe.
Cherry Doom was dead in a ditch many miles away.
Dark.
While all this was happening.
You were Christian Grey's first victim.
Christian gets taken to the Black Lodge. Bob takes over Christian Grey. Bob has been abusing Christian ever since he was a child and has control of his mind. He killed Laura Palmer, aka Cherry Doom.
Oh no.
Are you spoiling Twilight? I mean, Twin Peaks?
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Tune in next
Thanks.
time for Chapter 3.
Thanks for joining us.
Fun with photo shoots.